let other people join. I mean, with the interest of time, let's start. Let me quickly share the screen and kind of get you to what we are going to cover here today. I hope you can see the screen.
Yes.
All right. So, just a quick background. I mean, I do coach and consult to various corporates as well as SMEs and MSMEs. And I see a lot of confusion, challenges in digital transformation. And the foundational steps are, setting up a vision and creating a strategy. And that's where I thought, let me kind of take a shot and work on this free session just to understand what people face, what are their challenges, and then customize my master class, which I normally talk about. But before that, here is a quick background about me. So I spent about 34 years in the IT industry, consulting and delivering various initiatives with Patni, SAS, Intel, NIT, etc. I am the president for CXO Club in Mumbai. I'm on the advisory board of various MBA schools in Mumbai. Some of the names some people may know: Chetna MBA School, NMIMS, Indira, and Wellinkar. These are well-known management schools in Mumbai, India. And I do write a lot. I speak at various digital events. So that's where various publications, as you can see, thought I know the subject, and they started giving me the recognition as top 10 global thought leader and influencer on digital transformation. So that's where I help companies get on the digital bandwagon. With that very short background, let me move on to the subject. And what we are quickly covering in this 45 minutes plus Q&A. So understand what is digital disruption, because many a times people talk about digital transformation, but there is one step before, which is a disruption. Then we will see why it is important, why companies fail, then how do you drive that within your organization. And the foundational first or two steps are setting up a right vision so that your employees and your suppliers, your partners, and even customers, or the four pillars, get on with you and understand, because there is a human tendency, what is in it for me, right? So to understand that and get everybody with you, you have to have a clear vision. And then how do you align your business strategy and digital strategy, and some of the key success factors which have come from my experience, and then industry examples. If this makes sense, we can move ahead, or if you have any kind of inputs or suggestions, maybe we can take it up in a Q&A session. Yeah. Now, as I said, the step before transformation is the disruption, and I have kept very simple examples to explain all of you. Like in 80s, when Bill Gates brought the first personal computer, that was one of the disruption for mainframes. I mean, now people have very advanced PCs and laptops and whatnot, but in 80s that was one of the biggest disruption, I would say. Then another, globally again, Sony was the industry leader in music industry, and Apple iPod came in 2004, and then Sony was again disrupted. I mean, Apple was nowhere in the music industry that time. So this is an example of disruption, I would say. Kodak Rolls film company, we all know, and actually they were the first, in fact, to come out with a digital camera, but their leadership team did not approve that in 97, and because 98 or 99% of their revenue was coming from the film business, roll business, so they didn't adopt the digital at that point. And finally, eventually they had to file the bankruptcy. So Kodak, another example of the disruption. Then floppy drives to USB drives, again, all of us know. Earlier, we used to use all these floppy drives, 8-inch, 5/4, 3.5, and now it is, everything is in USB or pen drives, what we call. This one, all of you definitely know, from rotary dialing phone to a smartphone. We all have now supercomputer in our pocket all the time, and shuffling and scrolling through the data and getting some actions out of it. And the latest one I can say is from normal printers to 3D printers. Now, many manufacturing companies and airline industry like Airbus and others, they in fact print the spare parts also with this 3D printing technology to get to the customer faster and avoid supply chain delays. So these are some of the examples of disruption, which I thought are very simple to understand. And I like to simplify the subject. That's why I thought this will make sense to bring you to the speed. Now let's understand what is digital disruption. And obviously, again, this is one simple example, Britannica Encyclopedia. They were like 15 volume and 100, 200 pages or 500 pages per volume. Now nobody looks after those or get into those. Everybody, all of us go to either Wikipedia or Google, right? So that is a digital disruption. And then in last decade, we used to go to Thomas Cook or such similar travel companies to get a airline ticket. Now we book it ourselves on Make My Trip or GoIbigo, Clear Trip, Yatra. These are just Indian websites, but there are again many different websites which are available to do this online. So this is a digital disruption, and that kind of is helping us. Later on, these guys, I just thought of putting them their name here. They change our lives completely, right? Bill Gates on Microsoft, Steve Jobs from Apple, Jeff Bezos from Amazon, Mark Zuckerberg, who doesn't know him, Facebook and WhatsApp, and Elon Musk, Tesla and SpaceX, right? These guys have done so much innovation into their products and services. We also have benefited out of it a lot. So they have changed our lives completely. Remember earlier we used to drive like this. I mean, in fact, in India this is not required. We have a lot of people to tell us, but in US and any other country we used to have these AAA maps to drive from Cincinnati to Chicago or something like that. But today we drive with the Google Maps. So this is again the digital disruption in our lives. I mean, we have seen this happening. Now there is no need to ask at any gas station or any petrol pump and things like that. You have the complete destination where it will show you the step by step or turn by turn map, and you actually reach out to your destination faster, avoiding all the detours and stuff like that. So good example of digital. This is this is another example of digital, how it also encroaches your privacy. So you can see that bank robbery was easy till the phone did a location update, right? So cops went and came, got hold of these thieves while they were robbing the bank. So this is where again location update, because of that cops came to know. So this is another disruption or kind of disadvantage of disruption. I thought putting both the sides to you. So to simplify or simply define digital, it's not just developing a website or a mobile app. That's what my CEO friends also talk about. That Sandeep, we have a complete digitization done. Now what they have done is they have digitized the process, KYC process, any form filling process from analog to digital. So they have done digitization, not the digital transformation. The definition, as it says, it's use of or exploit those digital technologies to radically change what business can do and respond faster to the customer requirements, also adopting new business models and delivering value to the customers. So that's really the transformation part of it. It's not just doing something for a department or for a particular leadership team, but it's enterprise wide or organization wide transformation. That's why it is digital transformation, and this is a simple definition I thought will make sense. Now, this is another reality that many of the companies have been shut down or closed because they didn't adopt digital in early days or in their time when they were on Forbes 2050 or Forbes 100 or Fortune 500, whatever the list they were many present there. Typically, when there is a competition, it can come from anywhere. And that's why I chose this picture where Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield fight. So you may be a very strong incumbent with the customer as a vendor, or you may be very strong, but there could be anybody out of your industry who can come you and push you out of your business. So this is a fact. Digital is real and fast, and you have to expect a smack in the face. So that's why I thought Mike Tyson's punchline: everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. That's the reality which is coming with all the current scenario. Now here are some more examples why digital is important, and I have coined this term Uber them before they Kodak you. It's like disrupt them before someone comes and disrupts you. Border, one of the major bookstore in US, which got closed because of Amazon. Amazon started selling with books. Then his master voice, HMV, one of the biggest music company, that got closed because of Spotify and iTunes not adapting digital again. Blockbuster Video, this was like 8,000 plus stores in US, and Netflix came in, and actually also again there is an irony and story behind that. They went to Blockbuster and asked them to buy Netflix for $1 million, which didn't happen, and eventually Netflix started streaming live, and that actually kind of shut down Blockbuster, more than 8,000 stores. So they had to file the bankruptcy in 2010. So these are some of the examples of why digital is important. For India or for Mumbai, there are two more examples which are like Rhythm House, and some of the people here on the call will understand. Rhythm House was one of the good music store in Mumbai, and we used to go there to listen to vinyl records. There were vinyl records and a headphone type of thing. But in 2014, when MP3 wave came, they did not really move on or switch to MP3 format, and that's why this good landmark got closed. Planet M, other stores, and they had many franchise stores all across India. Again, because non-adopting digital, they had to shut down their shops. So this is an impact of digital. I mean, if you are not exploiting digital, and with the pandemic and COVID, all these restrictions of social distancing and all, if you are not reaching out to new customers every day, then obviously there will be a trouble, and sometimes you may have to pull your shutter down. That's the reality today. Here is another reality. Earlier, bigger companies used to eat smaller companies or take over, but now there is no size restriction. Even a small fish can take over the bigger company. That's I just thought of putting together. Obviously, I have borrowed these slides because they are very, cartoon or humor savvy and giving that message. So I'm just bringing such slides to help you understand the topic or subject. So this is kind of becoming reality. There is no size or money in terms of takeover. It's all happening anywhere, any place. Anybody can come in and push you out of your business.
This is a reversal of Matsyanaya doctrine.
Yes. And that's really becoming, because I have seen a couple of real examples. Even Patni, one of the biggest company in earlier decades, was taken over by iGet, and iGet was just 400 million that time. Patni was more than 900 million that time, so more than double the size. But iGet took it over. Now it is Capgemini. So that happens all the time. So no industry is now immune, and everybody has to get on digital bandwagon. There is no option as such. If you don't get the digital bandwagon, then obviously again there is a closure or a severe impact on your business. Correct. And here is another example. I thought of putting this slide. That number of years it took for each product to gain 50 million users. See the airlines, more than 68 years it took for airlines to reach 50 million. But as you move to the right side, television just 22, then computer 14 years, internet 7 years. But the interesting last one, Pokemon Go. This is the game which came out a couple of years back, and it just took 19 days, 19 days to reach out to 50 million users. That's the power of digital, augmented reality, customer experience, intuitive interfaces, all of this clubbed together, bundled together. That's what has happened. And within 19 days, that game has reached out to 50 million users. That's the power of, I would say, digital. So it's time for change. Actually, this has actually been changed for more than 6 years now. Digital is there for more than 6, 7 years now. But still, many companies are struggling, and we will see why they are struggling going forward. But disruption is everywhere now. And if you think your business is not really impacted, then think again. That's what the message is. Now, let's see why these initiatives fail, because many companies starts on digital transformation and there is a adrenaline rush to get on digital, and they start their own, individual departments can start their own. There is no cohesive integrated efforts, and that's why they launched the rocket. I am just pulling out the picture of rocket, but they don't know how to land. Typically it's all about getting something faster but not really planning and then executing. That's where the failure happens. There are some more reasons. One, obviously, the businesses treat it like a gamble. They know they have to win, but they don't know where to place the chips, which strategy they should use, which market they should go, which product and services, whether it is a new market or new product, what is the strategy they need to adopt. They are not really aware of this. And that's why market research, competition analysis, both of them are really, really important in such scenarios. The other factor of failure is customers. The very purpose of any business is to get the customer and retain the customer. But in some scenarios, people or businesses don't differentiate or segment the customer. They treat every customer same. So there are digital dinosaurs who don't know anything about digital. There are digital immigrants like our parents. They don't know really what is digital. So they ask the question like here, do they deliver emails on Sunday? And there are our children, digital natives. They are the customers for tomorrow. So they are always on the mobile phone. My daughter's always on the mobile phone and doing something, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. They are completely immersed into this digital technology. So need to treat these customers differently, and that's where some business fail doing that strategy. And now with all this tsunami of information we have available at our fingertips, we have become Superman, right? So if you want to buy a laptop, or if you want to buy a smartphone or a television, you know more than the sales associate who is there in the store. Isn't it? You have researched it, you have asked your colleagues, peers, friends, which one is good. If you want to buy a laptop, you will do all the research, whether 8 GB RAM is good, 16 GB is good, 1 TB SSD, and this and that, right? So we have become a Superman, and to deal with that, businesses really need to do a lot of stuff and adopt these digital technologies, because customers are now at one level, and you need to reach out to that level. Otherwise, you will fall behind, and your competition will take your customers. Here, I like this Tom Pigeon's cartoon, marketonist.com. If you visit his website, you will see a lot of cartoons, and this one I like very much. These are really the 5 stages of any company. Initially, they will start with a denial. No, we have a good word of mouth business. We don't need anything to change. We don't need digital. Then they will become angry. So they will start asking why everyone is changing. Right? So that's typically happening. Then they become a bargaining mode. What is the minimum that is to change? Because they don't really want to lose the game. And then they get into depression, and finally they come to the acceptance part of it. And I have personally seen this kind of behavior from the leadership, CXOs. Really, they feel, it's really doesn't matter whether we are digital or not. We will do our stuff. We have our sales representative, we have our marketing team, and they will do their job. But with lot of things changing, technology is giving a lot of ammunition to the customer. It is really important to reach to your customer anytime, any place, any device, wherever they are. And that's why getting on it as early as possible, and then adopting digital technologies is extremely important going forward. Let's see some of the things which are happening now. Why let's see if Google has said something like this, that you give us the query, we will search the results, print it, and then send it to your home in 30 days. Will you even go to Google? Not at all, because we want instant gratification, right? So your digital also has to be real time. The customer experience which you are giving to the businesses has to be real time and intelligent. If something is not going to work out, the thing should immediately tell you what needs to be done. And then there comes the technology. So I talk about four technology pillars here, and you need to look from the right side. Typically we read from left, but here right side is most important because that is where the customer is. So all the customer facing technologies like web portals, mobile apps, social media, UX, virtual assistant, that is the pillar which is most important, because that's how you are interacting with the customer, you are communicating with the customer. Now that pillar will work and get more personalized when you have digital foresights, which is all about BI, big data analytics. You will get all the insights from the data you have, and you can personalize the interaction with the customer. Again, these two pillars will work only when you have data integrated, which is digital integration. So you have API, microservices, BPM, cloud, and all these technologies come into picture. And the last pillar is emerging technology, which is all new fancy things, blockchain, augmented reality, virtual reality, Internet of Things, AI, chatbots. These are the new age technologies which have come. And cyber security obviously will be required all across everywhere, because everybody will be communicating with each other. So you have to have secure interfaces at each point. This looks very simple, but when you add the vendors, now you understand how difficult it is, whether you should go to SaaS or you should go to RapidMiner or Python for analytics, right? Every time there is a choice, because multiple vendors are giving the same kind of services. So that's where you need an expert to choose the right technology platform. And now let's come to our core topic. How do you drive this now in your organization? Whether it is your vision or your strategy. And again, there are various things which typically are done. Let's see what are those. First and foremost, you need to keep or put customer at heart. So as I said, without customers, your business is not going to go anywhere. So you need to think about customer 24/7. Only then the things will move in the digital way. You have to think about people as the soul, whether they are your employees, they are partners, or they are suppliers. People who are actually making things possible, executioners, decision makers, everybody, developers, all of them. So they should be taken with you, taken with the stride. So you need to communicate the right vision to these people so they are actually happy, because it's a human tendency. What is in it for me? People will be really needing to know that answer. So you need to think about people. And digital as oxygen. You have to have digital available everywhere. It's not just one department, not just chief digital officer, but digital should be everybody's job. Every person in the organization need to think about digital. Only then things will move to the right direction and digital will work out. Now I normally talk about the 7 steps for digital transformation, and I have executed this several times in various companies and various businesses. Typically starts from setting up a vision and strategy, then understanding where do you stand, that is digital maturity, then know the market competition analysis. The second step is customer journey mapping, which is where you need to understand all the problems you are having with the customer interaction, each and every customer interaction, not just one interaction. Then you build the top-down cultural change. Typically, this is the CXO which comes in, board of directors which comes in. They have to lead from front. I have seen many failures where a junior manager is assigned the digital transformation task, and that doesn't go anywhere, because there are many problems. We have ego problems, there are political issues, there are location issues. So it has to be driven by the CXO, C level person, chief executive officer, chief marketing officer, so on and so on. The first step is from this customer journey, then you identify the problems and identify the opportunities which are most impactful for the business and customer experience. Don't just take everything together. because that will not work out. You have to have a right approach and right opportunity prioritization. So that's where prioritization comes into picture. Create a good business case and create a roadmap. And 6, 7 are the execution part of it. So you bring in the agile methodology because that is where today's world is moving on. You also have a fail fast approach. So typically, I have seen many a times some initiative fail because everything will not work out. So some things may not work out. Now learn from them and don't penalize the employees working on those initiatives, because that is the scarcity people have. That if we fail, then our appraisals will not happen. We will not get promotion. We will not get monetary benefits, so on and so forth. So give that assurance to the people that even in the innovation, if there is a failure, don't worry, we are there with you. Finally, you have to measure what is happening, what is progressing, and how you can optimize, and then go back to step 4. So this is the iterative thing. 4 to 7 are the iterative things have to happen, iterative steps which needs to happen at that point of time. So this is a roadmap which typically I kind of help businesses with, and that works wonder. I have set various companies on the success path by adopting this roadmap. Now, in this, I bring in the 5 frameworks for transformation, and typically starts with the digital strategy. The first one is digital strategy. The second one is digital maturity assessment framework. Third one is a customer journey mapping framework. Then the digital transformation, the roadmap template. How do you build that? And finally, you have to be in front of customers, right? Not just putting something together, but not marketing. That's why digital marketing is also important for digital transformation. Without that, people will not understand what you are doing, what you are serving, what you are helping, or which problems you are solving. So these are the 5 frameworks typically I talk about and take customers to. Application of digital, obviously these 3 business areas are impacted. Customer, we talked about that it is the most important factor or a business area for digital transformation. The second business area is your business model. So either you have to create a business model canvas, or you go through your business plan and understand what changes you need to do. The third business area obviously is operations, because once you start adopting digital technologies with right approach, your operations will get optimized and they will improve the customer experience. They will reduce the turnaround time for any product manufacturing or any process. And that's where robotic process automation and all other technologies will come in. Sorry, I'm at home, can't help it. There are people who are coming in, so please bear with me. Now, the research report says that once you adopt digital, these are the things going to happen. Your revenue will definitely increase, and it can increase more than 20% also, but up to 20% definitely there are success stories. And your cost reduce almost by 30%. So it is a very boom for manufacturing industry, supply chain, and all other people who really spend a lot of money in that particular period or in that particular stages. So 30% cost reduction is a big number for many businesses, and that's why adopting digital is really important, and you need to get on this bandwagon. Now let's see, how do you set up a vision? This is what we have been talking about. Now, as I said, the vision should be very simple and should be understandable for each and every employee, right from your senior managers, because leadership is already sold to it, but your senior management, vice presidents, directors, and below till senior managers and people. But even an entry level employee should be happy with the vision. He or she need to feel that yes, this will help me in my career, in my professional personal lives, as well as monetary kind of things. So it is should be very easy to understand, and you need to take all your employees with you for that. So 2 3 examples I have just listed to be the partner of choice for digital transformation. So your customers should feel that you are the best partner for digital transformation. And if that is what vision says, then obviously your employees have to work on or get on to the extra mile, delivering things to your customer. Other could be 3 by 3, 3 years to expand digital strategy in every project. Now, many projects and many deliverables are still at nascent stage. How do you adopt digital there and get every project digital, and 3 years to get a place in top 10 digital firm. That could be your vision, right? If that is the vision, then people will get some kick to work towards it or wants to achieve that. Vision 2020, obviously now this is old. I should have get 2025 or something, but digital by default. There is no paper at all in our organization. Earlier, I remember when I used to work for General Electric, we used to say every Friday is digital day. So on Friday, we didn't print anything in the office. So that was just for one day in a week. So by 2020 or 2021, 2, 3, 4, whatever year you want to say, you can say digital by default. There is no paperwork in office. Everything is digital. So those kind of visions you can really create, but they should be desirable and flexible. You should be able to change the course correction, and communication has to be proper. So digital again has a best way of communicating. If you communicate the right message to the people, then they will understand. So that's how you can set up the vision. There are multiple examples, again you can find out on the digital by Google, and you will get many companies talking about their digital vision, but they should be communicated to the employees correctly. Now, business strategy, obviously, there are many ways to set up business strategy, but I thought these four will help you understand. One is creating a new market. That could be your strategy. You already have a product and you already are established in one location, but now you want to go to the new market. That could be your strategy. Or buying the competition like Facebook. They have buying Instagram, they have bought WhatsApp and things like that, right? Oculus, that is again one of the good pioneer things which they have bought. So buying the competition, that could be your strategy. Product differentiation, which is really difficult because you have to have a great innovation engine in your organization like Apple does, right? They first came out with iPhone in 2007. Before that, we used to have Nokia, Samsung, BlackBerry, all these, big phones as mobile phones. And BlackBerry was very popular in us corporate guys at that point of time because it was having that keyboard, QWERTY keyboard. And we used to send emails to our colleagues and customers using phone at that time. That was really innovative. But when Apple came in, there was no manual. The first thing they did is manual was not there. It was so intuitive, easy, simple to operate, and a touch screen, which has completely changed our lives. Now every phone people have, nobody is having that keyboard phone. Everybody will have this touch phone type of thing. So that product differentiation is another strategy. Finally, cost leadership. Obviously, OnePlus kind of phones, as you can see there, they are at a very low price compared to iPhone, but giving the similar features. So many people will opt for OnePlus than going for a costly iPhone. So these are the four different strategies you can choose as your business strategy. Now, I really like these four books, and first one, as you can see, is A.G. Lafley, and he was the CEO of Procter and Gamble. Playing to Win was his book, and I adopted the business strategy and digital strategy alignment from this book. So I like, and I added my experience on top of it, but I like the way they have created the business strategy. The second book is Good to Great, Jim Collins. Again, it is talking about how good companies have reached to great status. The third one is Blue Ocean Strategy, where new product, new market. There is no competition. How can you do the business? And finally, Good Strategy, Bad Strategy. This is also a good book. So if you get hold of these books, please read through them and you will understand. But I prefer Playing to Win. That is one of my favorite books. And this is what A.G. Lafley says. 6 questions for setting up a business strategy. What is your current state, right? What are your strengths, which geography, which products you are currently managing, operating, and stuff like that. So talking about your as is scenario. Then what is your winning aspiration? Where you want to go, right? So what is the purpose of your business? What are your vision, mission, long-term goals, and where do you want to see after 5 years? So that are the things. Obviously, you need to write down in greater detail answers to these questions. Third one, obviously, is the location where you will play and product categories. whether it is existing product, existing market, high competition, or existing product, new market, lower competition, new product, existing market, again, lower competition, new product, new market, no competition. So think about where you will play with your product and services. Then come to the question of how you will win. So what all capabilities, differentiators, unique selling proposition you need to have, and then typically building those capabilities. Finally, the systems will come into place for measurement. So if you have these 6 questions answered very neatly and passionately, I would say, and with practical difficulties, whatever you may be facing, then you will arrive at a good business strategy for your business. Now, how do you align your digital strategy to this? So what I have done is I added some more questions to this, and they are now related to your business strategy. So typically, as is state, where do you stand on digital maturity? So that is a framework. Which digital technologies are being used currently in your organization? Where or which digital social platforms you are currently present? So you answer now these red font questions and you align your digital strategy to the business strategy, which is already there. So this is how typically I help businesses and companies to adopt the business strategy and digital strategy. I hope this makes sense. If there are any questions here, I would definitely like to address them in a later point. But this is a very simple, good framework to get on digital transformation strategy. Obviously, you need to know the pain points of your target customer and work backward. That is what is a good digital strategy talks about. You need to know where do you stand. You have to do a competition analysis, industry analysis, create a roadmap, create timelines, create business case, benefits, and ROI. But action is most important thing. Don't just put it on the paper. I have seen many businesses who put it on the paper and then don't do anything on top of it. George Colony, one CEO of Forrester Research, he says if your board of directors are having a low digital IQ, then your company will also have a low digital IQ. And he gave us 7x7 metrics that put all your senior leaders on the x-axis and put your digital technologies or social media platforms on y, and just tick mark who works on what. If anybody scores less than 4, then obviously that person doesn't know these platforms. And it's not about Snapchat or smartphones or LinkedIn, Facebook, etc. It's about relevancy. You need to be relevant to your customers because your customers are there on each of those platforms. If you are not there, your competition will be, and they will pull your customers. So that's why it is important. 4 key outcomes of transformation: obviously engage customers, right? Because now you have worked so much on the customers, they will be really engaged. You have empowered employees, which has happened anyway for last 1.5 years. Now everybody is working from home and have a lot of office related stuff accessible, doable, taking decisions from home. Your operations are optimized and your business models get transformed. So these are the 4 outcomes of digital transformation. Now, this is what a traditional business reporting or BI looks like, a rear view mirror. What has happened in the past? What is my current state, etc. But digital will give you a road ahead. Logically, you can change the course, change the direction, change your organization strategy, and take a step forward. Don't just hit and bang on the competition, obviously. So this is why I thought this picture will make sense. Some keys to success, which I have from my experiences, which is again harping down on the vision. It has to be really proper communicated to your employees, so everybody is aware of your digital transformation vision. Then customer, as I said, they should be in the front and center, right? All the time you should think customer first. Don't just use RPA or any such technology to automate some process. Is it really impacting customer? That's really important part. Thirdly, measure where you are. Understand where do you stand. Only then you go to destination. You have not to know your source or initial state. Some examples I thought would make sense. quickly. So industry example of chatbot, which is an artificial intelligence based chatbot. So one of the biggest bank in India, HDFC Bank, they have this chatbot, and it's now one of the topmost chatbot, have answered millions of customer queries. So this is a really good example of transformation. AI based applications, again, driverless car is one good, and many companies like Audi, Cadillac or Volvo, they are actually developing a lot of things around the driverless cars. Then third one, Tesco. Now this is a virtual supermarket in Subway somewhere in Hong Kong. So there actually you take a photo snapshot and everything will be delivered at your home. You don't have to worry about getting down at your station and then buying things. So this is what looking at the customer experience. That's really important. Another true omni-channel engagement, Disney, one of the great company, they are having this wristband now, IoT enabled, RFID enabled. So now people can pay with this band. People can, get priority on certain rides. And what Disney is doing, collecting all the data of customers. Where do they eat? What food they like? Which rides are more popular? When is more crowd and things like that. And they are applying that analytics to make our life as customers very easy when we are in the park. That's how digital works there. Nike, they don't do advertising anymore. They say now we are the health companion, not anymore a shoe company. So you already get all those, how much time you have ran and what steps, things like that. Similarly, Domino's, another company which has adopted digital. So give that transparency to the users or customers. Where is my pizza? Whether it is preparing, whether it is under preparation or still baking or has been out for the delivery. You get every step. And when it arrives at your doorstep, obviously you are eager to eat it. So these are some of the things I thought will make sense. And a very short time, obviously 45 minutes, but I would like to take, if you have any questions or anybody has any inputs or additional experiences you may have. I'll just stop the share. Yes.
Thank you very much, Sandeep.
Hey,
sorry, I joined late. I was struggling to connect. Anyway, okay. I missed a good chunk of it, maybe at least half of it. I don't know if we have access to the recording.
Yes, there is a recording available. I'll send the YouTube link to everybody so that you can get the recording or see the recording later on. Not a problem.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. But any questions, Edward, from your point, or you want to add anything from your experiences?
Well, I'm based out here in South Africa.
Okay.
So the digital maturity, if I may call it that way, is not at the same level as what I've seen in India and other areas.
Right.
So we are pretty much at the elementary stage of transformation, and such workshops are very important for us because it's giving us some sort of light to the direction we should take.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Sure.
And it is all about the digital marketing, even I would say. The brand awareness is really important. So if once you say internally also to your employees why digital is important, so you need to do that, evangelization in the organization and out of the organization also. Then people will start feeling that, yes, this is the way to go.
True. And I'm also a firm believer in that things find a way to sort themselves out, in the sense that if the others transform and they're making money, and you don't, you're out of business. So you will be forced to.
Correct. Absolutely. I like that. Yeah. Thank you. Anyone else has any questions or input?
Yeah. Hi, Sandeep. This is Subbu here.
Hi, Subbu. Tell me.
Hi, how are you? First of all, quite an insightful session, and it was very nice, crisp, clear, and very well presented. Thank you, Sandeep, for that.
Appreciate it.
I want to add on something, three things which is important when you talk about digital transformation. Sure. Is normally when people drive digital transformation, what they do is most of the time we forget that there are the backend systems and other systems which are still running in an organization.
Absolutely.
So integration is one of the most important aspects. Otherwise, a digital transformation will be like a standalone, and all your all your transaction or transformational system will be another parallel track. So it's important to connect these two tracks so that you have a single view of information and the visibility. That's point number one. And point number two is the change management, because that's more important, is to creating champions, because that's what we did in Otis, is creating champions network and making sure that the champions network is from the business, from the IT side, and so that together to drive this change. It's more about a cultural change, a process change, and second, the overall change of the business or the model in the way we want to work as an organization. That's point number two. And last one, which is about adoption. Because what we do is we drive transformation, digital transformation. What's more important is how do we track that adoption of these initiatives to create that maturity.
Correct.
And one is important. Everybody wants to build an ideal system. Ideal day one. Oh, I want the best ideal digital transformation. Let me tell you, it's systems are impossible. It's important to build something, and the ideal is a journey ahead. It's not a what you call a destination. So that's is important. And digital transformation is a journey. It's not a destination that I can do it in 1 or 2 days.
Correct. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks, Subbu. Nice. And that's why I had created those 4 pillars of technology, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Until you have your data integrated and it is going to the mobile app which customer is accessing, you are not digital transformed.
No, but you put it a very simplistic way. It was excellent. I just want to tell you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I do conduct a lot of master classes, so you can check out my website and we can connect offline if there is a need. Even Edward, if there is a need, I mean, I will be happy to help if you guys have any concerns, questions later on also.
Oh yes, 100%. I will certainly be in touch.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Sandeep. Yes, this is Prasanna here. Well, I'm grateful that Subbu got me into this session, first of all. Second thing, many of the pointers that Subbu mentioned about legacy, learning from the legacy, changing to building the change champions and adaptation. I would want to add one more point to in continuation, rewarding through the journey. This is as well, while there is a journey, and the journey might be endless, the journey might be tiring, the journey might be painstaking too, but I think the recognition and reward that comes along, because mainly I think people focus on the outcome of it, but I think equally the journey also is fulfilling, and the fruition of the journey as well should be considered when looking at the talent within the organization.
Absolutely.
So that's one thing. And second thing is the aspect that was also mentioned during the call is in the area of change management. Change management, looking at the stakeholders and the variety of mindset that comes in, I think that is a very interesting dynamic altogether. So it is not that people do not want to change. People would want to change. And change has been, all the slides that you showed, one common theme that stands out is about the change. And evolution is part of human history anyways. So we are bound to evolve. We have built to evolve. But then what happens is there are different expectations, and that expectation management in the journey of change becomes super critical. Because then I come to your statement, which you have continually mentioned, is what is in it for me. And that is where, if that expectation is managed across the stakeholders, I think change management becomes easy.
Absolutely. I mean, I have various slides on the keys of success. I just showed you 3, But if time permit, I could have shown you, because as Subbu said, one of the area is digital not being a journey. I mean, not being a destination. See, I had this slide anyway listed down in other presentation where I do talk about such kind of things. And there are more than 50 plus such, success keys for success, which I have listed down, and I do normally cover them in other workshops like this. So this is complete keys of success, but I did not have all of them listed here, but I choose only a couple of them because everything is important in such evangelizing. If you talk about failures or success, unless and until you evangelize within and outside the organization, it's not going to help you. So getting employees on board, right? That is another success. Getting aligning strategy. So there are many cultural change, as Subbu said, right? Change management. There is an internal register to all of this. So there are many such slides available, but I thought of putting some of them only in interest of time.
I like your slides. They are simple, intuitive, and more pragmatic. So they are not theoretical. They are something that people have lived. The journey has been lived.
Correct.
And they connect instantly. These are real world evidence.
Absolutely.
So
thank you.
No, thank you, Sandeep.
Thank you very much. Anyone else has any questions? Sandeep or Akshay, Bhuvanesh, anyone else? Or anytime you feel any questions you may have, just shoot out a mail to me. You can reach out on my website, which is goingdigital.in. We'll be happy to help on digital. That's what my passion is. And as I said, I do help businesses on digital transformation and digital marketing, both the strategies and execution plans, etc. That's what I just wanted.
There's this chicken and egg, story, So
Right.
Vision and mission, like, what is your take on that? Because some people say that mission should come first and then the vision, and then some people say vision should drive the mission. So, I mean,
so vision is all about where do you want to reach after 1 year, 2 years, 5 years. Abhi to bahut, I mean, it's a big time now. 5 years, anything can change. So don't do a vision for 5 years. Maximum 1 or 2 years, but vision comes first because that is what you want to achieve. And mission is how do you achieve that?
Purpose of your this thing.
Yeah. So if you are saying that my vision is to reach to the top 10 digital transformation firm. If that is the vision, how do you achieve that? That is your mission. Then to simplify or help our businesses get on digital bandwagon, train our employees, many things will come into the how part. So vision will come first. I strongly believe vision will come first, because that's the horizon you will give to the employees and leadership and customers, stakeholders. Yeah.
So basically, roadmap, you start with the vision, mission, then you come to the environmental scanning, that is internal and external context.
Right.
And after that, you start with the customer persona and customer journey, right?
Yeah. Maturity assessment again.
Maturity assessment, it comes.
Then customer.
But then when it comes to the customer and user, like whom do you map? I mean, do you map the users and customers both?
That depends on your customer persona. So you need to identify the major personas with whom you are working. So whether it is a user who is taking some of these things, or whether it is a customer who is actually paying and doing some things. You need to identify certain personas and then create journey map for each one of them.
Okay.
It's not just one fits all. That's not the criteria.
Okay.
So I remember, I mean, I did one I did one customer journey mapping for one of the sales training institute. They actually train the MBA guys before they get on to the corporate life. Now we actually carried out 3 different customer journey map. One was the HR heads, people who are really interested in hiring these guys, MBA guys with sales training, which is extra industry readiness, right? Not just out of college MBA school. So HR heads was one. Then placement officers was another persona, because these guys want to place their students to a great companies, good companies, paying good salaries and stuff like that. So that was a different persona. They will interact with the sales training institute differently. HR heads will interact differently. And the third most important was the students. They themselves wanted to know whether I'll be industry ready after doing this sales training. What is the difference that I am doing an MBA from Wellinger and then I am adding some sales training, which is, attached to some university maybe, but am I really industry ready? But that will be another person. So you create different customer personas and then create the journey map. Each one will be unique, separate. All right.
All right. Thank you very much, Sandeep.
Okay.
It was.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Always a pleasure to listen to you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
So take care. Reach out to me. Thanks a lot. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.